Hello, morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. We'll just start in 2 minutes. Has Donna joined? Alima?
Yes, I think he's joining. He's trying to join.
I'll join you guys after like 1 hour. Okay, let's begin. I think we're not so late, but uh, we have a few more people joining on. But let's begin. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon. And of course, most of us already have an update that this is first time youth from communities discriminated on work and decent have very strongly trying to raise their voices. And at last, we have got a space at the UN where we've got an opportunity to be heard. Didn't come out so easy, but as we have been trying to constantly, through our struggles, through our constant efforts, bring it up. So this is one stage where we have tried to ensure that we have a strong space at the United Nations, at the UCOSOC Youth Forum itself, and this will go on again. And of course, as this year's whole theme is about science and technology, how we can leverage science and technology, and to ensure that we have access to decent work. The global conversation around decent work and future of our work must urgently and meaningfully include the realities which we are facing as communities discriminated on work and decent, including Dalit, Burakumin, Roma, Kilambola, Haratin, Osu, and other historically oppressed CDWD. We call it CDWD. And of course, having faced these structural exclusions, the youth themselves are the ones who have been facing these issues extensively, and be it about equitable labor market, denied access to dignified livelihood, science and technology, digital divide, and of course, most of the opportunities wherein the youth from communities discriminated on work and decent are being taken for granted. Uh, and who gets to, uh, to benefit from this shift is something we really need to talk about when we are actually trying to move forward, talk about our struggles, bring forth our voices, and move towards a society wherein we have equal access to right to work, decent, and once we talk about science and technology also. So our whole conversation today will be around this thing. Before this, may I request Pranjali to play the video, if possible, Pranjali? Thank you.
The world is home to over 217 million people of communities discriminated on work and descent. Discrimination based on work and descent, DWD, is the UN terminology for systemic discrimination like slavery systems, including caste-based hierarchical systems in different parts of the world. This type of discrimination is pre- and post-colonialism and is rooted in the idea of purity and pollution. It manifests in practices such as casteism, untouchability, slavery, and anti-gypsyism. Discrimination based on work and descent is a unique form of inequality, where individuals are targeted not based on their appearance, but on their ancestral heritage and profession. Unlike racism, which is about hating people because of their skin color and looks, discrimination based on work and descent happens among people who are alike in some ways. These communities face a range of discriminatory practices, including restrictions on socio-economic, civil, political, and cultural rights. They are also subjected to notions of purity and pollution and are excluded from civic amenities such as education, health services, urban infrastructure, and access to justice. The discrimination faced by these communities often leads to violence, including assault, murder, rape, and false cases, especially when they resist discrimination and assert their rights and entitlements, be it Roma in Europe, Quilombolas in Latin America, Dalits and Burakuman in Asia, or Heritin in Africa. The members of CDWD are often subjected to violence when they demand their rights and entitlements. Women, children, and members of the LGBTQ community of CDWD are most vulnerable. However, these communities are fighting back and demanding their rights, including access to education, fair representation in the government institutions, the end of slavery and discrimination, and inclusion in policy making and legal systems. They also demand access to financial resources, health services, and the right to own land and access to political participation and power. Let us stand in solidarity with these communities and work towards a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect, equality and justice, regardless of their work and descent.
Thank you, Pranjali. Thank you for the video. So I think before coming to the first speaker, we also need to know like what exactly we will be talking about in the session and how the lived experiences and aspirations of a CDWD youth, workers and entrepreneurships are to be addressed, and we need to talk about them, and of course how transformative potential of science, transformative potential of technology, transformative potential of innovation shall be made accessible. And of course, there has to be a market which is more or less accountable around the CDWD youth altogether. So I would introduce our first speaker, who's Mr. Anurag Bhaskar. First of all, thanks for giving us time, Anurag. Anurag is an assistant professor of law at OP Jindal Global University, Sonipat, an affiliate faculty at Harvard Law School Center on Legal Professional. He has also served as the deputy registrar at a very, very young age, which itself is a huge thing for our community at Supreme Court of India, and now is serving as an official on special duty researcher at National Legal Service Authority. He has also had fellowships at Harvard Law Schools and Oxford University. And for his research, the Bluestone Rising Scholar Award was conferred on him by Brandeis University. Of course, not to forget, he is the author of the book, The Four-Sighted Ambedkar, Ideas That Shaped Indian Constitution. Anurag, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Navi, for that kind introduction. And hello, everyone. And it's so nice to see faces from different parts of the world, even though virtually. And so it's nice to be here. So I would just take few minutes on today's theme on harnessing science for decent work and economic inclusion of CDWD youth. So we all talk about science, how progressive it is in human evolution, but we have seen that with the evolution of science, the problems faced by so many communities have remained the same, or the larger issues have remained the same. The issues of discrimination have remained the same. So when we see science as a progressive tool, we also need to question why with that evolution, we haven't been able to solve some of the most pressing problems of discrimination around the world. So we need to talk about it. And we see that science and technology, of course, have huge potential in many ways, especially in extending the accessibility of education to communities who have not have the access to education. Today, we see that knowledge platforms can be accessed by anyone. And we have seen universities also experimenting with online education, thereby increasing its access. We also see with the rise of social media that um, communities are which are discriminated against are mobilizing and are raising their demand. But we also see that in the modern technology and science era, new forms of discrimination are also emerging. We see that on social media, which was thought to be a great equalizer and a proponent of free speech, we see that instances of hate speech against communities uh, uh, or CWD communities are also on rise. So then that's the question that where do we draw the line in understanding science and technology? We also see that with new technologies, AI and startups, especially in India, we see many tech-based app which connect labor to the consumer, such as if you want to book a cab, you can do it with a click of second, or a food delivery would come to your house. But we also see that in that tech-driven entrepreneurship, the rights of the workers who work in these industries, they're not safeguarded, they are not much discussed. And again, we see that who are the people who actually work in this informal sector, who are not paid adequate wages or are not given employment safeguards. We also see in India, to give an example, that we have a practice called manual scavenging, or modern form. You see that in sewer tanks, um, you still see people entering into sewer tanks, uh, mostly from Dalit community, and every other day you see instances of people dying inside those sewage tanks because of suffocation. So why hasn't science been able to solve these problems? Why haven't been we discussing, or policymakers discussing how science can eliminate these problems? So we have to ask these questions. So the question of ethics in understanding science becomes very important. How do we see science? Does science only mean evolution in certain ways, but while not understanding the problems faced by so many communities, we have to talk about it. And at the same time, we see that when our communities enter into educational institutions, such as those teaching specialized courses on technology, we have seen that the discrimination that our students face is so much that a lot of them, to give an example from India, have been forced to commit suicide because of the discrimination and bullying and lack of support. So that is happening, that while we talk of technology and education, we don't talk about discrimination as usual. So the point that I wanted to highlight in the limited time that I have got is that despite being evolution in science and technology, and the emerging talk about artificial intelligence, are questions of discrimination on the basis of identity, work, or descent, they cannot be left behind. And the question of science has to be connected with social sciences. So whatever conversations we have around science with policymakers, we have to raise these issues of discrimination. Otherwise, these issues will not be taken up. I'll end on that note, Naveen. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurag. I think, yeah, the whole point of how we need to use the science for the Dalits is something we really need to talk about, because it has always acted as a double-edged sword. And especially for our communities, wherein we have been extensively sometimes kept away from accessing science and technology. On the other hand, the world was developing. And also, on one hand, the science and technology also has been used to spread hatred extensively. This important thing, which itself is a reality. Of course, digital divide, science and technology, online hatred is something we really need to look upon, Anurag. But thanks for bringing up this aspect, Anurag. Thank you. We have a next speaker who's Yash, but I'm not sure if Yash has joined yet. We will request maybe Kunjini, because Yash has another side event going on. We will request Kunjini. Kunjini is a human rights lawyer, senior rights expert from Global Forum of Communities Discriminated on Work and Decent. And she's also a human rights, or she is also an activist and province coordinator of Advocacy Forum. She is also board member of ADWIN and rights experts. Oh, that's a repetitive introduction bio, Kunjini, where she has advocated for the rights of Dalits and marginalized. And in her role as president of the marginalized communities, president of the Bahini Education Foundation, Kunjini works to uplift single mothers and their daughters in Nepal. She has also co-founded Nyay Kunja Legal Associates in 2018. Kunjini, please, the floor is yours. Thank you. Also, sorry, one second, Kunjini, sorry. I think Alima has shared a link which is in her own name in the group. So we have so many Alimas in the speaker in the list. So when Alima speaks, I won't be able to identify who is actually speaking. So please change your name. If you have joined through the link shared by Alima, you can rename yourself, or you can text through Alima's. You can text on the in the group, and we will change your name. You just put your name over there. Thank you. Kunjini, please.
Thank you so much, Naveen. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and warm greetings to everyone from Nepal. So today I'm speaking on the issue that is deeply personal yet universal. The right to education, and more importantly, the right to be included in the space of science, technology, and innovations. While talking about the science, technology, and innovations, I remember the incident while Anurag was speaking about the bullying and bullying at schools. When I was in school, there is a subject called Pak Shiksha, which means a cooking class. And we were never allowed to cook in schools. And they used to say that you are a small one, you can't cook. And they never teach us how to cook. And now I realize it's because of my caste rather than my age. So this is not just my story, it's a story of the millions of people, 270 million people all around the world. And while talking about the science and technology, the discriminations is more harsh. We often say that access to education is not just privilege, it's a right. But millions of CDWD youth, especially Dalits and other marginalized in South Asia, this right remains as a dream. Educational exclusion is not only reflection of past discriminations, but it continues yet. Let's begin with the pictures of our region, South Asia. In South Asia, it is not uncommon for the Dalit children to be seated in the back of classroom, denial of equal attentions, discriminations, even while drinking water in the schools, and they get beaten, and they're made to feel inferior in front of whole schools. This happens despite of global commitment on SDG 4, inclusive and equitable educational quality educations for all. The UN Special Rapporteurs on the Education in 2020 reported how caste-based discrimination remains as a major barrier for education yet. Let me share some numbers with you all. In India, only 66% of Dalit youths are literate compared to the national average of 74%. In Nepal, Dalit women's literacy is just around 48%, while the national average is close to 70%. These are not just numbers. These represent the lives of the young people like us who excluded from the opportunity simply because of their birth or descent. While it comes to science and technology, the gap is even wider. Less than 5% of the Dalit students enroll in the engineering or science degrees. In Nepal, technical education is still largely accessible to CDWD youths, especially to those who are from the poor background and from the rural area. Now let's talk why it is important. Because STEAM is a key to decent work, innovation, and upward mobility in the current global village era, where IT professionals are the ones who are ruling the whole world, if we see the statistics. So it empowers the youth to bridge the rural-urban divides, participate in the digital economy, and empower and contribute in sustainable development. The barriers are real. Caste-based bullying in schools, universities, economic hardship, lack of internet access, digital divide, hate speech, absence of role models with whom we can relate and look up, and more recently, the policy setback is major challenge. Recently, in 2024, the government of Nepal got scholarships that is given to the Madhesi Dalit community in medicine quotas, simply because of the pressures on reservations and the upgoing hate on the reservation systems. That decision make a diversity impact on the marginalized community, especially the Madhesi Dalits. Yet there are some story of courage. I want to highlight the story of Dr. Ramji Ram, who is a Dalit youth from the Chamar community, Madhesi Dalit of Nepal. Despite facing poverty, humiliation, and systematic exclusion, he pursued his dream and became a doctor on the scholarship quotas. And now he is serving the nations and motivating other people too. So what can we do and how can we change these things? So I have figured out some recommendations that could be helpful to break these discriminatory practices. First one is scholarship and affirmative actions in STEAM fields. Second one is training for the teachers to be inclusive and free of biases. Third, community-led tech hubs and learning centers led by CDWD youths and partnership with other NGOs and CSOs and tech companies. And tech companies should take the empowerment of the CDWD community as a role on corporate social responsibility. At last, let us remember a future of science must be equally available to those who clean the labs as to those who work in the lab. Let's ensure science became a tool of liberation rather than exclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunjani. Yeah, indeed. I think voices from the grassroots, especially Mr. Ram's name, who you mentioned, during his youth itself, the amount of struggle, because I have also met him, and the amount of struggle which he has done, and especially in a country like Nepal, where Dalit issues has been highlighted extensively. We have also mentioned in the constitution. I mean, I believe in South Asia we have, after India we have Nepal, and then of course Pakistan has also started to acknowledge specifically in terms of scheduled caste. And now the fight is towards, fight is on in Bangladesh as well as in Sri Lanka. But the amount of we also need to acknowledge how Nepal has in the past identified and also given space to the Dalit movement extensively, which is a huge thing. But also the amount of struggle which the Dalit youth are facing in Nepal and South Asia is something we need to document and also have very strong disaggregated data, I believe, Kunjini, in terms of violence, in terms of education, which to some extent also revolves around the whole aspect of science and technology, how we can use it in favor and not against. So, but thank you, Kunjini, for the quick intervention. We can have Alima now. Alima is a senior rights expert with us. She's from Gambia, has been extensively supporting the youth program. And of course, communities discriminate on work and decent interventions across the globe. And she's also a senior rights expert, as I mentioned, and now she's also guiding other rights experts across the various regions. Has been part of the research, has been part of the capacitations, has been part of the interventions which we are making at the UN and other bodies. So, Alima, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen, and thank you, everybody. I'll be speaking on the role of advocacy in advancing the labor rights and social inclusion for CDWD youths. Advocacy plays a transformative role in ensuring labor rights and social inclusion and fair practice for CDWD youths. Who are the CDWD youths? These are the communities that are discriminated on work and descent, and they are based in India. They are known as Dalit. In Europe, they are known as, especially in Roma, they are known as Roma. And then
Alima,
we have
there
them
is some,
in Latin
sorry to interrupt, Alima. There is some issue with your audio. I think might be difficult for the interpreters also to understand.
America. So what I was saying is advocacy plays a transformative role in ensuring labor rights and social inclusion and fair practices for youths in the communities that are discriminated on.
Sorry, I'm very sorry, Alima. I'm very sorry. There is still is this with me only, or others are also having the same issues? Then I'll let Alima speak maybe.
Is it okay with everybody?
No, the sound quality is a little bad. Not able to hear properly.
Yeah, it's echoing a bit.
Alima, try turning off the video maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying advocacy is a transformative role in ensuring labor rights, social inclusion, and fair practices for youths in the communities that are discriminated on work and descent. And then these youths include the Dalits in South Asia, the Roma in Europe, the Burakum in Latin America, and then we have others known as Haratin in Africa. So speaking of labor rights, youths from communities discriminated on work and descent often face enriched occupational segregation, explosive conditions, and denial of dignified work. So advocacy did help in this area, like it helps to challenge caste-based occupational roles and push for freedom of occupational choices. It promotes access to decent work, fair wages, social security, and work safety. It also exposes and opposes bonded labor, manual scavenging, child labor, which deeply affects CDWD communities. For example, a case story in India, the Dalit rights group advocated an end manual scavenging. So speaking on social exclusion and the role of advocacy in dismantling social exclusion, CDWD youths frequently face social exclusion from education and public spaces to leadership and cultural representation. So advocacy helps to address and fight stigma of these youths in these communities. So it also, through advocacy, it helps demand affirmative action in education, employment, and in skill development programs, creating a platform for CDWD voices in policies and civil society spaces. For example, youth-led campaigns use social media to challenge caste-based hate speech or celebrate successful CDWD individuals as role models. Just recently, few days ago, we had a world celebration of universal equality, and then some of the heroes in our communities that fight for equality were celebrated.
Alima, I'm very sorry. We may have to pause you because of the voice issue. It's sometimes it's coming out very well, but sometimes it's very muffled. So there are
Okay,
issues.
so I'll
Maybe
join my phone. and then
I
save
think
it. Let me join
I
my
think
phone.
are you moving back and forth? Because I think when there is this point when you're very clear and then it loses.
Okay.
Maybe you join again and we can have the rest of the interventions then, Alima. Okay, thank you very much. We requested we also have one of the Ruma who was a rights expert, and she's also extensively supporting us in the social media campaigns. She was not available as she was a little busy, but she agreed to give us a video. Miss Anna Maria, Pranjali, can we have the video from her side? Thank you.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Today, I want to highlight the critical role that advocacy plays in promoting labor rights, social inclusion, and fair practices, especially for Roma communities. Across Europe, Roma people continue to face structural discrimination in the labor market. Many of us are excluded from stable formal employment and pushed into precarious work with limited access to social protection or opportunities for advancement. This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of deep-rooted anti-Gypsyism, and we must call it what it is. Advocacy is not just about speaking up, it's about changing systems. Through the collective efforts of Roma-led organizations like those within the CDWD platform, we are challenging exclusionary policies, pushing for equal access to decent work, and demanding that labor rights apply to everyone, not just the privileged few. We must ensure that Roma voices are not only heard, but centered in the design of employment programs, anti-discrimination measures, and economic recovery strategies. Real social inclusion means representation, ownership, and justice. Advocacy brings visibility, but more than that, it builds solidarity, influences policies, and ensures that labor practices become a reality, not just aspiration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna Maria, for the quick video. And of course, we need to have these things as a reality instead of just remaining aspirations, because sometimes we also feel that the promises made by the states, the promises made by even United Nations earlier, that's still under process for us as CDWD youth, but other communities have already kind of achieved it. So continuously we have so many Alimas joining again and again. So I'll request again if we can rename ourselves, whosoever is joining by the link shared by Alima, it would be good. Otherwise, we will be confused during the breakout rooms, who's speaking and who's not speaking. So please change your name. And if you need any help, you please put put in the chat box. This is your name, and we will change your name. Thank you very much. And now we have Mr. Dwana Saneh. He's a teacher and a CDWD youth leader from the Koina community from Gambia. So Donna, the floor is yours. Thank you. Can you unmute yourself, or we'll try to unmute you? Yeah, please, Dada.
So good evening and good afternoon to you all. I greet each and every one of you in that group. Before going order, first of all, let me introduce myself. I, Dawda Bisan from Koina, begin at Madrasat. Yeah, the topic that I'm here to present is about youth-led business, economic inclusion, inclusion and promoting sustainability. So before going forward, I would like to introduce youth-led business. The youth-led business in our community or in your community can play a vital role in tackling economic and exclusion and promoting sustainability, particularly in addressing discrimination. Here are some ways they can make a positive impact, like how we talk about addressing discrimination. The ways of addressing discrimination. One way of addressing discrimination, inclusive hiring practice. So it means youth-led business can adopt inclusive hiring practice, providing job opportunity to marginalized groups such as women and minorities and people with disability. Like the second way, culturally sensitivity training. So it means this business can provide a culturally sensitivity training to their employees, promoting understanding and impact towards device customer basis. The three ways, accessible products and services. Youth-led business can develop products and services that cater to the needs of marginalized groups such as affordable healthcare, education, and financial services. Like another way that we have here, promoting sustainability in our community here. The eco-friendly products, it means youth-led business can develop and promote eco-friendly products, reducing waste and environmental degradation. The two ways, community engagement, how we engage in business. It means the business can engage with a local communities promoting sustainability practice and providing education on environmental issues. The three ways, socially entrepreneurship. Like the youth-led business can adopt socially entrepreneurship models addressing socially and environmental challenges while generating profit. I have another thing that I should talk about, like tackling economic exclusion. The tackling economic exclusion, the number one, like financial exclusion. It means the youth-led business can provide financially services such as microfinancially to marginalized groups, promoting economic exclusion. Like number two, creating a job to create job for a young people. This business can create job opportunity in marginalizing community, reducing unemployment and poverty. Like if you create job for the young people in community, this can lead people to reduce their poverty or unemployment. The examples of youth-led business. One example of youth-led business, socially enterprise issues such as education, healthcare, and environmental conversation. The two ways, cooperating number on the businesses that promote economic exclusion and socially justice. The three ways, the green business. The three ways is the green business. The green business, talking about the business that develop and promote eco-friendly products and services. Like by the supporting youth business in our community here, we can help promote sustainability, tackling economic exclusion, and addressing discrimination. Like it is talking about, if someone may ask me, there is discrimination in our society, I will respond the person and says yes, because the discrimination here, first of all, let me explain the discrimination. So everywhere we look and we see the difference in wealth, power, and status. Some groups have higher status and a greater privilege than other. Like in our community here, we have discrimination in the workplace. Yeah. The first way of discrimination in our society here, it usually happens discrimination in a workplace. Let's first look at where discrimination can occur. An example, we notice in everyday life is salary difference. So when it's time for paying a salary, you will see the differentiation while we are working at the same place. Like when we are working at the same place, but during the payment, so they will differentiate to pay like if the payment is supposed to be 1,500, so they will give me 1,200 or 300 while we are working at the same place. Like secondly, discrimination in school. This also usually happen in our community here. In the Gambia, particularly within the Sahulu community, discrimination in school can manifest as bias. So bias mean discrimination for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to what to be unfair. So it usually happen in our society here, like in the Gambia, particularly within the Sahulu community, discrimination in school can manifest as a bias in grading, unequally access to resources, and differing this were differing like disciplinary action based on caste or other social categories. Like the 3 points of discrimination in selling of what goods. This also usually happen in our society here, like discrimination of selling goods. Discrimination of selling goods in our community here of the Gambia involve refusal to buy from a slave or those who perceive as such by the freeborn, despite the ability the former to purchase goods from the latter. The discrimination extends beyond commerce and impacts access to most. With slave, the community built a separated place of worship due to the denial of access to the main mosque. Like in our community here, they build a separation of worshiping like the place where Muslim supposed to go and pray for is the place of worshiping for Muslim. They even build a separated mosque just because of what, like we call us as a slave. It means we should not lead those who call them as a noble. That is why they build a separation of what mosque. So this is what I have.
This is thank you, Dada, for the intervention and also the amount of work which you are doing on the grassroots. And I mean, this whole experience itself is very shocking, new. Not so new because similar things are also happening in the country, but itself the amount of things which are still prevalent across most of the societies, be it in terms of religion or in terms of caste. The one thing which is very common in the experiences which you have shared is about the whole notion of purity and pollution, and how, you know, a specific community is being treated as untouchables. Having separate mosques is a massive example. And yeah, I think that's how we really need to see how you know, we also kind of leverage and also see how science and technology can play some role into this. But the way you have brought these things together and the way you have presented is brilliant, Dada, and congratulations for such a strong presentation. And I mean, it will be really, really good if, you know, we can also have your interventions and your support in the future. And of course, the aspect which has been missing is about the environmental justice, which you have extensively talked about just now. So thank you for also bringing it up because all of us know that CDWD youth are often disproportionately located in climate vulnerable areas where we have flood prone areas, we have droughts, we have polluted zones, and of course, most of the time when there is an industrial project coming up, there is often displacement of CDWD communities without proper rehabilitation or even consent. And and I mean, the way you have linked this thing is itself is very good and very wonderful. So wonderful presentation, Dada, and thanks for giving your time, Dada. We know we contacted you at the last moment, but we have a very strong representation from your side, and let's ensure that the voices from the grassroots uh, are heard at every possible platform, and it's us who has to make it possible. So thank you again. So I've texted Yash. I think he has still not joined. Maybe I'll request him to join us later on. But okay, who's real Alima?
It's me,
Seems,
the real one.
seems like nobody changed your name, so you had to change the name. Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to comment on Dauda's
Oh,
presentation.
please,
And
please.
then Dauda, yes, Dauda is from the heart of the CDWD communities in Koina, in URR, Gambia. And then he works as a teacher in one of the separate schools known as the madrasas, like the Islamic schools. And then he's a youth leader as well. So I just want to thank him for the short time. And then he even highlighted the economic exclusion of their communities, like the CDWD communities, and then even the pay gap as well. So I just want to say thank you to Daud, and then thank to G4 for giving Daud the platform to express the situation of the CDWD youth in his community, and then hopefully in the future we will provide him with platform to venture out the situation of the CDWD community. So can I carry on with my presentation?
Yeah, please, Alima. But you have 2 minutes,
So this
maybe?
is summary. Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So I was saying that advocacy is a very important tool in the youth's journey towards dismantling of discrimination, especially caste-based discriminations when it comes to labor rights. So these are the things like campaigning for inclusive employment when it comes to labor rights, and then vocational training, and then economic inclusion training. Then I would like to give an example of the Dalit groups in India, like campaigning for the ending of manual scavenging. So when it comes to social exclusion as well, the advocacy action that we need to put in place is awareness campaigns like media, art, storytelling, affirmative actions in education, leadership spaces for CDWD youths. Example, storytelling projects that happens in Eastern Europe in Roma communities. So the fair practices as well. The advocacy we need to put in action is to make sure that we have legal support and justice mechanisms, inclusive policy development. For example, the Dalit network in Nepal influencing legislations. So the outcome of advocacy is always a dignified livelihood, a stronger legal protection, and then empowered visible youth leadership. So recommendations for advocacy, like it will be investment in youth-led advocacy networks, strengthening legal enforcement, ensure that CDWD are represented in policy makings, and then build global solidarity for decent-based justice. So I know I have limited time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alima. Thank you for this quick intervention. And thank you also for ensuring, because I think you are also somebody who has ensured that Doda is part of our program today, and it was really good to listen him. So I I think we have half an hour left. So what we can do now is let's move to the breakout sessions. And so we have for the breakout session, I'm not sure if Himani has joined. Himani, you're there? Okay, so Himani will join shortly, maybe. We have Pranjali with us. We have Alima with us, and we have Aparna, you there? Yeah, Aparna is also with us. Okay, and we'll also request Queen if she can also moderate one of the breakout rooms. So, okay. Can we move to the breakout rooms, Pranjali?
Yes, Naveen, do you want to explain about the language part before
Yeah,
I?
so yeah, okay. So we have two English groups, right, Pranjali? One group which will be in French, that will be moderated by Queen. Queen has because we don't have interpretation in the breakout room, so Queen has volunteered to moderate that discussion. And the main group will have Portuguese. So I'm not sure because initially I saw few Portuguese leaders with us, two or three. I'm not sure whether they are still with us. So the main room will have Portuguese. Uh, so yeah, and we have. I would suggest. Okay, let's move forward with this. How I would suggest. Okay, wait. Give me a second, Pranjali. We can move to the breakout rooms. On these three issues which Pranjali has mentioned, can we respond to these questions in the breakout room and have a discussion upon this? So we'll give you the questions also in the breakout room and let's have a discussion on this. And then while we are back, it's a 15 minutes breakout room session. And then we have time to come back and give our presentations for 2 minutes. Please choose a moderator and also choose someone else who can present. It would be good to have a new face, youngest face in the group. Please ask the age very specifically. Even if there is somebody who's below 18, I'm not sure if they have joined. Please give him or her an opportunity because there is a massive thing has happened yesterday at the ECOSOC Youth Forum. A kid who's 7 years old has given an intervention on science and technology. So let's also ensure that we start getting kids who are below 18 or 15, whatever the age is. I mean, age keeps changing from our own communities who's coming up using the platform of speaking. Okay, so let's go into the breakout rooms again. Queen?
Yeah, Naveen, I wrote it in the chat. Sorry, many of the participants bearing Alima's name are from Dauda, from Koina community, Dauda's community. So they still find it difficult to rename. So let's just let it be. And if they want to express themselves, then we'll hear them.
Please, no worries, no worries, no worries. They can take the name while they're present, and you don't need to change the name. Okay, thank you.
I have opened the breakout rooms. You will be able to choose the breakout room that you wish to go to. So as per your language, please select the breakout room as you might be seeing on your screen. Thank you.
He'll give you the questions over there.
Where do you choose?
Paul, at the bar down, there is this option of breakout rooms. Go down the taskbar. Which room? Oh, maybe we can put you over there, right,
Yeah,
Pranjali?
I can also assign Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I can.
Okay. Queen, do you want to go to the French one, please? Should I send you?
Please assign me, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
now I can see them. Thank you. Mm.
We can start putting ourselves maybe Larissa, which no, Larissa is our interpreter.
Interpreter.
Sorry. Anna, which breakout room do you want to go in? We have two English, one French, and one Portuguese.
Anna is also interpreting.
Oh, I didn't see her this thing. Okay, okay. We have Simona, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel. What is your preferred language?
Okay, you put him in the English one. It's okay. Actually, put him in the English one.
Hi, Hassan. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me, but do you want to go to the French booth, or I'm not sure. Hi, is there any Portuguese speaker here or anybody who wants to share something after this session? Because this is the main room. This is not a breakout room. But if you want to share something, like we are here, we can also discuss. That's not a problem. And if anybody is facing any problem in entering a room, please let me know. Hassan, just 1 second, I'll just translate this. Oh, that's okay. No need to apologize. But please let me know if you want to join a breakout room, and I'm happy to help here. If anybody in this main room is facing an issue joining a breakout room, please let me know. That's all right, Hassan, no issues. Hi, Johannes.
Greetings all.
Hello. So this breakout sessions are going on right now. So there are like 3 breakout rooms, French, English, and another English one. This one we kept for Portuguese speaking people if there are any, but I don't think anybody is here right now. And rest of the people are just the ones who did not join any room. So this will lay dormant, I think, for some time. But feel free to join any breakout room if you want to. You can go on the breakout rooms and choose a room if you wish to join. You're on mute, I can't hear you.
When will the breakout groups end?
They're ending in about months. Oh, only 6 minutes left.
6 minutes?
Yeah.
Then I don't join because then I'll just come in and then, yeah.
All right.
Okay, see you in a bit.
See you.
Okay, welcome back, team. So I think quickly, two people who was French speaking, I think they didn't join the group, I believe. Then Queen had to join the English group again. But I think we really need more people who are French speaking and also from maybe Latin America. But let's try to get them more in the next side event we have. So we have now two groups only who would like to present from group number one. I think that was Kunjani's. Kunjani, do you want to go first?
Sachin will present from our group.
Sachin. Okay, Sachin. Yeah, Sachin.
So our group talked about access to technology of CDWD youth across the world. We talked about awareness, but more so how each person has a responsibility to hear the voices of the discriminated and to do their part in supporting and to get the voice out there. Not just being ignorant, but to accept it and to be aware and to spread the voice. And we also talked about AI and technology and how it could help change the lives of many manual scavengers in India, Dalits who are forced to manual scavenge late at night when they cannot take care of their kids because they're forced to do it late at night. And we talked about how technology could be used to replace their jobs. And yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you, Sachin. And it would be interesting to know more about how AI can also impact the growth extensively, whether in a positive or a negative manner. But we really need to have a discussion on this also, Sachin, maybe as you have been also part of this process and also studying data. So we can have a detailed discussion on, yeah, you're saying something?
I think as the world currently is right now, it is it has a negative impact on communities like ours, and that is because we don't have access to technology and we don't have the ease of access to technology, which is the biggest barrier, because the technology is present. It's just that we are not able to access it, and so our voices and our needs aren't being answered by these tools that are available but are not accessible.
Okay, I agree strongly. I agree. But also, let's also look at the existing data if we have, Sachin, and let's try to also find out ways how this not only impacts us negatively, but also finding out ways how we can have a positive impact of, because I'm sure to some extent AI and science and technology is something which has both the aspects, and let's see how does it also impacts our own communities, especially the youth, because the whole discussion on youth forum which is happening, it's around the positive effects of technology, and I was surprised because our community has always been on the other side facing the brunt of AI and science and technology. But let's also try to see how we can leverage and see get more positive aspects from this thing would be good. um, Sachin, thank you for the intervention, Sachin. We have the next group. I think that was Kalpana and Alima, the real Alima. Who's presenting from your group? Kalpana, Alima?
Naveen, let Alima present, and if then later I'll add.
Please. Alima, yeah.
Okay, I will present on about the commitment and then the concrete mechanisms that we need to do for us to have a working group, a youth working group in the second World Social Summit. So mechanisms and concrete steps that we need to do is continuous advocacy. I know I have been mentioning advocacy all day, but advocacy has a great role in making sure that we have a working group, a youth working group in all international platforms, UN platforms. So I was saying, advocacy at a local level, at the community level, national level, and international level as well, raising up the issues of these discriminated communities, especially the youths, and also research and then making follow-ups, and then also making use of technologies, like you mentioned, AI, and also social media as well, reporting follow-ups, and then even after our following up on our proposed recommendations and even the resolutions that came out of our advocacy activities, like and also publicizing the recommendations and in the resolution that came out of our advocacy. So, is it what is the name again? We'll present on decent work, leveraging technology. Yeah. So she will share with. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alima. So next point, we discussed in a very brief, like how decent work and technologies can be integrated. So I was giving examples of, like, there. It's not that we do not when we look at India also, we do not like. I mean, we are not lacking behind the ideas of ideas for improving or improvising the situations or the working conditions or the working style of our people. Like suppose if we are talking even about manual scavenging also in India also, like the one of the speakers was talking, like sanitation work and manual scavenging is kind of thing. So it's not that we do not have many ideas in our country, but what we lack is the political will to engage those ideas into practices. Suppose if we are talking about manual scavenging also, the government of India has introduced the Namaste schemes, where it promises to be to make sanitation works fully mechanized. But it's a high time that we really need to ask we really need to ask for the accountability of the government to implement those ideas and all. And secondly, what regarding the demand that we are looking forward from working group is to foster and to give more such kind of platforms to the youth from all over the globe, so that they can exchange, co-learn, and share their ideas, and come up with the good ideas. Because as we know, like future is AI only. For even a small thing, from even writing an essay, for even doing a school's homework, we are highly dependent on AI. And so I think it's a time that we should really fund not only this kind of discussion, but we should also fund, and we should also cater like training programs to our youth from our community, like how they can engage, how they can learn AI and all, and how they can come up with they can integrate this learning AI, these trainings, and then bring some good improvement among the youths also. So that was the point that we discussed, Naveen. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think thank you very much, Kalpana. That was very strong. Also, uh, not only manual screening, but there are other forms of jobs which you have being pushed into, especially the youth groups. And thank you for also talking about the working group very extensively. But and I would like to ask the group over here again. Although we don't have a Latin America representative. Oh, we have JB with us. We have JB with us now. So we have Johannes with us. So do we really need a working group? If you agree with it, please type yes, or you can put a thumbs up.
Working group of what?
Working group of CDWD youth, Paul.
Where?
An informal working group?
No, you mean in the youth forum, or where are you saying?
We are planning to have one working group across the globe which can extensively work on CDWD youth issues, research, capacitate people, bring people forward to speak, and represent.
Within the UN structure or outside the UN structure?
It can be outside the UN structure also, Paul. Okay, Paul, you want to add?
Yeah, I think I do not know about working group, but we need a resolution or a resolution which leads to a declaration which directs UN member states and UN bodies to focus on this issue which has been neglected thus far. Uh, that resolution or a declaration, maybe even before that, a resolution can constitute a body within ECOSOC to direct its work on where the issues are, how these to be highlighted, which body needs to be, whether it's a financial inclusion, whether it's a gender rights, whether it's access to justice. I think that kind of a body is very needed. Otherwise, it becomes a very informal, and then the states will not take it seriously. So I would suggest a resolution which leads to a focused work within the ambit of the ECOSOC.
Okay, maybe what I can do for this. Yeah, thank you, Paul, for this this statement. I think what I can do now is maybe we can draft a term of reference or some kind of draft, and we can put it in forward in front of the team and everybody who's part of the meeting, and get some suggestions on that. And let's move towards this, Paul, as what Paul suggests now. Yeah, I think that's also really important. But also on the broader aspect, Paul, apart from the ECOSOC, we were also thinking to have a working group which can also intervene not only at the UN but also at the national and the regional level. That might be informal, no doubt, but with the hook being the UN intervention itself.
I think there are two types. My suggestion, one outside of the UN, which is the civil society body, and the other a body which is part of the UN. And there, I think we need to situate it. We need to clearly say where it has to be situated. That could be a resolution coming from the consultation here. This would be my suggestion.
Okay, sure. I think, okay, all right, Paul. Perfect. Any other quick suggestions or feedbacks or inputs? Do we have any other hands? Paul again.
Sorry, if nobody is taking, I'll just take one more minute.
Okay.
I think as we have seen, youth are very active in, as I have seen in several other bodies, but youth from specifically marginalized communities like indigenous, racial minorities, and dissent communities like ours need a special attention. I think we need to request the UN as well as the member states at several levels, both national as well as regional and international bodies, to specifically facilitate youth from these communities to have a platform and to enable their active participation in these processes. I think without that, it is going to be extremely difficult, because it's not that youth are not active. Youth are active in these areas. They are quite aware, but access to them, I think, is really not there. So we need a special attention, both by the UN and the member states, to ensure that these youth from these sections are given proper facilities, proper ability, space to see that their issues are discussed among ourselves, and also the suggestions from them are drawn. And it needs clear special focus, where we need language support, we need access to communication, and several of these, I think, has to be systematically done, without which our concerns and our voice will not be heard in these fora at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, indeed, agree. Let's also work towards ensuring this. Maybe I can draft something. I would also request other youth volunteers from the CDWD community if they can also support the draft, and I can float a draft. We can float a draft together. Let's get the comments, and maybe just after the youth forum. No doubt we have got a space, but it's not so. It's not such a big space which we actually deserved. And that has always been challenged, because if I'm looking at other spaces which have been already existing and they have been constantly getting, we literally have to fight for these spaces, constantly negotiate, talk to them, go to them, run after them. Okay, I need to speak, somebody need to speak and all. But on the contrary, other communities have actually a whole dedicated session for this, and we had to constantly argue, literally run after them. And every second person we have to explain what CDWD is, who are Dalits, even though we are around 270 million people. And that's a harsh reality. So I think, yeah, Paul, completely agree. So let's start working towards this. And before I finish this, anyone else wants to speak, because we are almost crossing the time limit. We have interpretation going on also. Okay, so before this, maybe Pranjali, can you tell the team about the next side event which we are having tomorrow?
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. I will share my screen, and I'm also typing on the chat box. So tomorrow we are having another side event, which is a virtual side event to EcoSoc Youth Forum. And as you see on your screen, it's focusing on SDGs 16 and 17, and centering the voices of CDWD youth. It's partnerships for the goal and peace and justice institutions. Those are the broad SDGs that we will be focusing on. And we have a really great panel lined up for this event. We have voices from across the regions who will be talking about youth issues specifically and focusing on these important SDGs. I have posted on the chat box. You will find a link to the registration page. So please do register, and we definitely count on your support for the discussions tomorrow. And we promise you that they are going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. I think tomorrow, as Pranjali mentioned, we'll be having a discussion on SDG 16 and SDG 17. And I think we really need to talk about the whole aspect of global partnership when we talk about rights of CDWD youth. And we cannot negate SDG 17. We have been doing it since many years. But that's one of the most important part when we talk about partnerships, when we talk about engaging with other entities and UN and civil society an organization. But let the world actually hear us now very clearly. Let them know that this is our space, and we are just not talking or asking for a seat at the table. Otherwise, if we are not given, we will build our own spaces, which we have been doing. And youth from CDWD community have the capacity to do this with solidarity, with pride, and with unstoppable power. So thank you once again. And if you have time, please join us tomorrow. And if you can also share it with your colleagues, other friends. I'm sure it might be a little late, but please join us tomorrow for the side event again. Thank you.
This is a virtual event, no? Is it, Naveen?
Virtual. Both the events are virtual.
Yeah, but the timings are set because for some of us, this means it is once again, the same time as the midnight, past midnight. So is there any way that timings can be given, or you'll have to help us that we have access to the recording, but we may not be able to participate?
I may not, I mean, it's too late to change the timings, Paul. So we only have the option 2 left with us. Because then we have one in the morning that is from 8 to 9. but most of the slots are filled for that. We only got the slot at this time. And the other one is after 5 to 6. So that would be very late for eastern part of the world.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to the interpreters. We have Larissa, and then we have Malak. We have Nuno, as always, who has been joining us every time. And we have Anna. And thanks to Kala also for ensuring that we have interpretation always. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Kunjani. Thank you, Alima, for putting up a great event.
Thank you, Pranjali, for all the support. And of course, the whole team. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.